I've had this truck for a lot of years, but because it started out as a rust bucket, my neighbors always referred to it as my Hillbilly truck. Since I'm from West Virginia, I can't really argue that. It's been rebuilt and ran into the ground several times, but I never documented the rebuilds. For this next rebuild, I'm doing a series of videos showing each step. This truck was put away and covered with a tar pit U-Haul about 15 years ago, so I could help my kids rebuild their first cars as they got old enough to drive. I finally got to bring my truck home after the kids grew up and moved out. Pulled the tarp off only to find it is pretty much dissolved. I was not happy. I decided to rebuild it and start off by cutting away all the rusted material and keep only the parts that are useful. As you can see from the picture, I thought the gas cap hole might be still salvageable. Aside from the gas cap hole, I was having difficulty finding any useful parts. But eventually I found something useful, the frame and chassis. You can see my temporary mode of transportation in the background. From here I began to work my way up. The only original parts will be this frame and chassis, the glove box door, and the sun visor. Everything else needed to be replaced. I bought a cab that was already stripped down from a guy that built trucks into dragsters. I added an extra layer of steel on the cab corners and rocker panels and injected 415 between the panels from behind. The entire cab was coated in 415 on both inside and out, in between the roof panels where they're known to rust. Then the floor and firewall were both undercoated on both sides. The final paint is base clear coat urethane in a sunburst orange with an additional pearl added. All new wiring and harness from American Auto Wire. This fit perfectly and had every wire identified in writing on the side so you can't screw it up. It also costs about $100, maybe $150 less than the one from Painless Wiring. In keeping with the stainless steel theme, I stuck with the stainless steel radiator hoses, braided stainless fuel line, heater hose, brake lines, any other thing I can find in stainless. The stainless brake booster and master cylinder came from Performance Online, and it's about as many other stainless parts I could find I put on. I replaced this radiator later with an all aluminum one, which will be shown on a video coming soon. Also, the heater core cover, I made a quick removal cover to go on that. That video I just finished. I should be able to post that in a few days. The exhaust is all stainless from Stainless Works, including an H pipe I put in instead of an X pipe for more low end torque, and a set of stainless exhaust cutouts to reroute the quiet exhaust into a set of cherry bomb glass packs. Of course, those are also stainless. Here's a closer look at the exhaust cutouts. Most of the parts were purchased from siliconeintakes.com or Summit Racing. It was a lot cheaper to buy all the flanges and pipe and weld it together rather than buy a kit, but it did take a lot of work and quite a few beers. I've already purchased a nitrous system and water methanol injection system. Since it's not on yet, I'll do a video on the installation of the two. Usually nitrous requires the timing to be retarded several degrees to prevent it from burning up the pistons and destroying your engine. This retarded timing causes your engine to have a little less power when not using nitrous. If you have fuel injection, a computer module can help take care of this by retarding and advancing the timing when you need it. I'm running old school Holley carbs, so setting up the switches for water injection to come on slightly before the nitrous will allow me to run nitrous without retarding the timing. This is also Holley Avenger carburetor. It's 570, I believe it is. CFM. I went with a smaller carb for low end torque because this is a truck, not a dragster. And the nitrous will get me the top end if I need it, which I don't really see the need for it. It's just cool and I want it. I wanted to go with the vintage air conditioning system, but it took, well, it was $1,500, close to $2,000 by the time I got all the parts. And it took up a whole lot of room. It almost eliminated the glove box. It was a real pain in the ass to install. You had to buy the dashboard controller for the air conditioner, which was another couple of $100. A few other parts that just kept adding on the price. So what I did was I bought a universal under the dash AC system. This was big in the 70s. This was brand new. I bought it off of eBay. But instead of putting it under the dash, or behind the console or behind the glove box, I stuck it underneath the console. Since I built this console myself, I can build around it. There will be a video showing how to use the crimping tool and to make the hoses and how to vacuum the AC system down and recharge it. Since there's nothing original about this truck, I had no problem throwing in the digital gauges, which came from Intellitronics, or at least most of the parts for it. Some subs and a booster, along with a 1000-watt inverter for AC power. I'll do a future video upgrading this inverter to 3000 watts. As you can see, I threw in a plug instead of switches and a pretty power meter on the back of the console. The console lid came from a 1979 Blazer, and the console was built around it. It can room for a built-in tablet with cellular service. The truck has a turbo 400 trans, but since the cab was originally a 4-speed, I left in the clutch pedal and added an H pattern on the console, just to add to the confusion. Also on the console are 2 glow shift gauges to measure air pressure in the onboard air compressor system. I'm going to do a future video creating an onboard air compressor driven system driven by the power steering pump. That's probably going to be ready to go in about mid-December. The installation of the seats also from a 79 Chevy Blazer, and the headliner panel kind of completes the interior. The headliners from Highliner includes 4 speakers and a panel for stereo, but I turned the panel into a switch panel to arm the nitrous and meth injection system. I'll also put a key lock up there, so if I loan the truck out, they don't blow my engine up playing with that. Then I added 2 kicker panels with a 6-inch speaker system in them. They didn't really improve the sound much, but they did make the interior look a little. That about wraps up where I'm at with the rebuild. The rest of the build will be done through all of the videos listed here. I can go through them, but I'm pretty sure you can read. I'll put this list in the description and add links to them as they're completed. It's just turning winter where I live, so there won't be any videos involving paint work until spring. I expect to have it all on the road by August 2017, and the final video is shortly after that. Thanks for watching.